Hey, Stuart here with another edition of backpacking tips, tricks, hacks, facts, and etiquette. On today's episode, where do you get the advice? Where do you get the best advice? Who can you trust with backpacking advice? Well, let me give you the moral of the story first. You really do need to vet where you get your advice when you're asking important questions online or in store. Typically, if I get an answer on a forum or from someone in a store that I don't understand, I will question them. I'll quiz them. Something you can do if you walk into your local outfitter or one of the bigger stores is just ask a person in the backpacking area if they've backpacked, where they've backpacked, have they done the trail you're planning to do they own this piece of equipment? Interview them a bit. Get an idea if they're knowledgeable about what you need to understand, because sometimes, even in big stores that you would think would know everything, you can get some bad advice. And here are a couple of examples. First thing I have to say is both of these examples happened in Canada at MEC, Mountain Equipment Co-op. It used to be, now Mountain Equipment Company. It's a big chain across Canada, and of course I use them all the time. They have wonderful things, and they're usually accessible in the major cities, and you can pick up what you need from them. But sometimes you go into these stores expecting that every team member is going to be an expert in whatever you're looking for, and that's just not the case. In fact, it's not even fair to expect that, which is why I said a second ago, you really need to interview these folks and hope that they'll tell you, well, I haven't really done that, but so-and-so has, and then they go find so-and-so. So this isn't any kind of comment on MEC in any way, shape, or form. It's just a coincidence that it happened at both stores. First example, Victoria. I flew in from the southeast United States where I used to live, and you cannot fly with bear spray. It's prohibited on aircraft. So I went in to pick up the bear spray that I pre-ordered so I could just pop in, pick it up, and get to Port Renfrew. When I got up to the counter, the person who was getting my items for me, there were a couple of other things too, like fuel, things you can't fly with. They asked me, so, where are you hiking? I said, I'm going to the West Coast Trail. And they looked at me and said, oh, you don't need bear spray in the West Coast Trail. You want me to return this for you? True story. Here's the day after. Bear is still up there. It's just up there, right there. No interest in leaving. It's almost like it found a daybed. Unfortunately for me, my tent is right there. Oh my God, there's a cub. There's a cub! It's a female! Oh my, okay. There's a cub! Well, that changes the game significantly. That was a sow with a koi, a cub of the year. That could have been quite a different situation, but this mom was not. She was docile and just kind of doing her thing, but what if she wasn't and I didn't have bear spray? Wow, not good advice, and that proves it. The second situation involves river fording, and there's a whole other video here about river fording, and it actually touches on the exact same topic that I overheard at the MEC in Calgary. So I'm back in the backpacking section, and a lady goes over and asks this gentleman working there, how do you ford a river? What do I do with my backpack? The advice given was basically take your pack off and strap it to the front of you, tie your boots to the front of it, and put your trekking poles attached to it as well. I won't get into it now, but that's the most baffling advice I've ever heard in my life. I almost went up to the employee, but I didn't. But I did go up to the lady. And I said, ma'am, can I bother you for a second? I said, I just overheard what you were told. And that may be some of the worst advice I've ever heard in my life. And I asked her where she was planning to ford. And she was going to have to ford potentially the Red Deer River in Banff National Park. Here's a little shot of the Red Deer River near where she would have had to ford. Now, wow. So watch that other video where I talk in detail about fording. But the moral of the story is you cannot rely on an individual for advice if you don't understand their expertise and experience. For goodness sake, when you go to these stores, get the right person for the question you have. And if you're on YouTube or on Facebook, first of all, on YouTube, you can look and see what I've done. That's easy. The videos are here. You can look and see what experience I have. You can vet me that way. And you can disagree or agree with my advice. That's completely up to you as well, but it's just experience. All I have is experience, and I'm sharing that with you. When you go to a store or you're on a Facebook group and somebody tells you you don't need bear spray, like this happens all the time on the same West Coast Trail area Facebook group, that people are telling others that they don't need bear spray. You have to look at the source. It's great advice for life, actually. When you're looking for advice or reading the news, go to the source. I hope that helps. Some of these decisions are big ones, But carry bear spray in bear country, as I've said millions of times before. And for goodness sake, don't take your pack off and strap it to the front of you when you ford a river. Vet your advice. See you next time.